Hi, Kevin. Welcome to Plot Twist Radio.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. Before we get going, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I am a former pro snowboarder who kind of got to live the ultimate life of a pro snowboarder way back when. I feel like a dinosaur over here. I'm almost 40 now, and that was more like when I was like mid 20s was I doing that. And it was the ride of a lifetime, man. It was like so much fun, the life I got to live when I was growing up. And then things completely shifted and took a turn.
Yes. I know what you mean about turning 40. I turn 40 next week. I'm not handling it well. It's not my favorite, but I know what you mean about it being like a lifetime ago. I was a gamer, like big time gamer, and I always played the snowboarding games on Xbox. So
Loved
I could
it.
never actually do it. My husband took me once to try snowboarding, and I could not even do the bunny hill. I had to, I had to go home. It was bad.
Not for you.
No, not at all. So tell us a little bit about how you got into snowboarding.
So I am the youngest of four boys, and my whole life have been a copycat. And when you're young, you hate when people copy you. And all I did was copy my brothers and wanted to be like my older brothers and just did what they did. And they got into snowboarding when I was real young. And I wanted to do that. Everyone else was up on the mountain skiing and my brothers were snowboarding. And I was like, that's the cool thing. I want to be like them. And I got when I was 4, actually, Jake Burton, the founder of Burton Snowboards, made me a snowboard that I still have in my garage, funny enough. I just unloaded all my snowboards last night, and I have like 40 snowboards, and I lined them all up in my garage. And then I have this little one. My first one ever was from Jake, and I was hooked from the moment I got on board. It was like, this is for me. I hated school. I'm dyslexic. It was like pretty bad dyslexia growing up, and like just school didn't work for me. School is for some kids. Some kids love it. They go in and it's like their happy place. And for me, it was like jail. It was like they locked me in this cell and I just look out the windows and I'd see the snow and I just want to be in the mountains. And that's all I could think about. And then, when I was quite young, when I was, in 8th grade, I went away to snowboard school. So how that works is in the spring and fall, you just go to normal school. And then in the winter, you snowboard all morning and then go to school in the afternoon every day. And so that's like a dream come true, right? I got to snowboard every day and it was in Vermont. So the conditions weren't great, but that didn't matter when you're a kid. You don't care about conditions. It was just like in the mountains, on the hill, not in school. Like this is I'm the luckiest kid in the world. And then, I won my first contest when I was quite young. I was like 15 and I went to Mount Bachelor, Oregon and won this event and things just like took off from there. It was just like this ride of a lifetime of going from like this first contest, winning $5,000 and being like coming back to high school and having like 5 grand. All your friends are just like, what? And I was like, what is going on? And then, pretty quickly, I made it up the ranks and I won the Aaron Style and the Nissan X Trail and I won the Arctic Challenge and I won the Ticket to Ride Snowboard World Tour in 2009. And all this is going on. I'm 19, 20, making tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it was just like the fakest, most surreal ride of like, this is what I dreamt of as a kid. And then just like this normal guy, I'm just like another person on the street. I like roll into becoming like my nickname in Japan was the American Dream. And so I'd go up and I'd drop in and they'd be like, dropping next, American Dream, Kevin Pearce. And I'd like drop in and I'd like land my trick and win like $60,000 and a Nissan, and all my sponsors would match it. And it was just like crazy of just like money and friends and parties and products and snowboards. And it was just like, I think I know it's crazy now being almost 40 and thinking back to those times of just like how crazy and intense and fun. And when you're in it, when you're doing it, that stuff's not hard, right? Like I was doing double corks, I was doing 1260s, I was doing all these different tricks, and that stuff's just like easy and fun. It's just like it works. And it's like when you're in that zone, you just make it happen.
That is incredible. I could not imagine what that would have been like. I think back to my age when I was 20 and, I would end up like $100 at work as a bonus, and I thought that was great. So I could not
Totally,
imagine. And it would be
totally.
all gone, I guarantee it, if I made your kind of money.
And, like, my stories are, like, one is, like, I'm coming back from the Arctic Challenge, and I won, like, 40 grand there, 30 grand in cash. Because back then in 2009, wire transfer, there was none of that. You just get, like, cold, hard cash, and when you come back through customs, you have to fill out this form if you have more than $10,000, and I was like, "I'm not feeling it. I'm not." I, like, and so I split all the money up with my buddies, and they all put it in their bags, and everyone, like, had, like, 10 grand in their backpack, and it was like the Wild West, dude, like, just, like, rolling with, like, 40 grand when you're 19, like, that doesn't happen.
Oh, that's really cool. So, when you were doing all that, did you just feel on top of the world, like invincible? This is amazing.
Completely, and it really hit when I started beating Shaun White, and I beat Shaun at the 2008 European Open half pipe, and then again at the 2009 European Open half pipe, and then in a couple different contests that year did I start beating the best, and back in 2009, he was still the best, he's been the best in the game his whole career, and so then, like, I always looked up to him, and then I started beating him. That really, like, gave me that feeling and understanding that I could go to the Olympics in Vancouver and win, and so in my mind, that was all that mattered, was going there and beating Shaun, because even back then, the Olympics are like the Olympics. That hasn't changed. A lot of things have changed in the last 15, 20 years, but the Olympics have always been at that bar of just, like, the next level, and I always am all about the next level, getting to the highest places in life.
What did it feel like, knowing that you were on that track? I can't imagine. I
Dude,
really
I
can't.
can't, like, I'm sitting here and I'm someone where, like, I can't imagine, like, I can't even, like, it's hard to go back to that feeling because it's, like, so surreal to me. I look at these videos and these pictures and, like, these awards that I won, and I'm just like, "Whoa," like, that was the coolest feeling of life. It's like, I think it was crazy because I found everything that I ever imagined at such a young age, and then it was taken away from me so quickly.
Yes, yes. So, as you said, it was taken away from you, and I'm so sorry that that happened, but you have turned it into an inspirational thing. How did you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's literally like I'd never ever wish a traumatic brain injury on anyone. It's not an injury that I want to have or anyone wants to have, but somehow through the worst thing that could ever happen to you and still be alive, I think this is to me the absolute worst thing that you could ever go through, to be able to take the worst thing and then try and do with it what I did with snowboarding is the approach I've had. It was like from day one, I was like, I'm going to be a pro snowboarder. And then that got taken away from me. And so now it's like, how can I take that mentality into this new chapter of life?
Yes. People talk about recovery, physical recovery, but what about identity loss? Did you feel that as well?
Oh, heavy, man. That was a gnarly one. Losing the the stardom and the fame and the power that comes along with that, and then not only did I lose it, but I turned into someone that people didn't necessarily wanna be with. I turned into someone that wasn't cool anymore, and that was hands down the hardest part of being like, "Whoa, like, I'm not Kevin anymore. This isn't the Kevin I know. I don't know why I'm doing these things. I don't know why I'm acting this way or why I'm talking like this or why I say these inappropriate things, like, that's not me, but my brain just did it, and it would just, like, and it still does, it does these things, and I'm just like, "That was the dumbest thing I could have ever done." Like, why did I do that? And so many people watching this that have a brain injury will be able to understand that, but if you don't have one, you can't really get it because you don't really understand why you would do something that you don't wanna do. So it's a really hard injury to relate to, and that's what I found being one of the most difficult things is because I can't even relate to other people with brain injuries. That's how hard this injury is it's like, there are other people with brain injuries, and I'm like, that kid's acting stupid, like, that was it's like, I did that stuff, like, shouldn't I be empathetic? And, like, it's sticky, man, it's a sticky one, and then it's like you go back to, like, where I was, and it's like, that was so exciting, right? That was, like, so awesome, and so for me, it hasn't been about going back, and I don't think about those times much, and I don't go back and put myself in that place because I will never be there again, and I'm fine with that. Instead, I've looked forward, and I've found a wife, and I've managed to have these 3 kids with her, and I've found myself now living with 2 houses and right by a surf break, and I can take my kids in the golf cart to school. It's like my life has shifted 250%, and yet I'm happier than I've ever been.
And that's rewarding. That
So
is rewarding.
that's really dope to be able to take something so bad and now be sitting here and talking to you and being like, my life is perfect. My life is so unbelievably fulfilling and I have so much happening and there's so many projects going on and I'm just none of this would have happened if I just kept snowboarding and kept winning and kept making money. I
Yes.
wouldn't have any of this. I wouldn't have and so a baby screaming in the background right now that hopefully you can't hear. I would not have that.
And you know what? I have 3 as well, so I know how it is. They I won't be surprised if one of them comes barging in right now. So, who knows? You may hear a "Hey, mom," so don't worry about that.
And
Uh,
that's all right because it's so fun, right? All I want is my kids to be like, "Dad, dad, come here." I'm like, "Yeah, love that because my kids don't judge me, right?
right.
We get very judgmental as we get older and as we get smarter, and for some reason, but that's not smart to judge people for acting a certain way because I have a brother with Down syndrome, and I've been around special needs a lot of my life, and it's like now I have special needs in a different kind of way. So it's a pretty wild world, and I just, like, can't wrap my head around the fact of how crazy it's been, and I sit here right now in such total happiness.
And that is amazing. It really is. So, what do you think? And I spoke to someone last week who was a stroke survivor. So,
Similar.
similar situation as far as brain injury goes. But what do you think that people still misunderstand about brain injuries? That I asked them the same question, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand the complexities of it.
Yeah, I don't know if we can understand because of how complicated it is and how much is going on. It's almost like we as a human species we figured everything out, right? Like we're so smart in so many ways and we're so able to do so many things as a human race and yet we're still working on figuring out space and we're figuring out the brain and the brains the like space I can understand how we haven't figured that out like that is so vast that is like so but I feel like we should be able to figure the brain out even though it's so complicated and we haven't. It's like if we figured the brain out these guys would not be going out on the football field and hitting themselves in the head and it's not every single game it's every single play that they're getting in. I've been to the former NFL Players Association, and I've been very involved in that, and I can't make sense of it. How like I love watching football, and I just like every single play because of what I've gone through. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that is crazy to hit each other that hard. Like that is insane to me, and yet I'm insane because I was a pro snowboarder. So it's like everybody has their insane, and everyone has their craziness, and life's just crazy.
Life is crazy. It is a wild ride, I will say that. Some days you don't know what you're gonna put up with, but you know what? You bring up a good point, especially about football because, I love football. I'll sit there and watch it all day. But they really do. They're slamming themselves around by these 400 pound guys, and I'm surprised there's not more brain injuries, to be honest, as far as that
No, but
goes.
there are, and that's the crazy thing about football is that they're happening to so many players, and I went to this former players conference, and all these guys' brains were ruined. Like, they'd lost all their money, like, they'd all been divorced, like, they were on the streets, they were homeless, like, it was this was maybe a 5 to 8 years ago I went to this, it was a long time ago, and that is one I've done thousands and thousands of talks, I've done a lot of public speaking, I've, like, got myself out there, and that one sticks with me. Of all the events I've been to, it was like seeing those guys and where their lives were at now was heavy, but we don't need to harp on football. That's a whole nother topic.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, as you said, you do talks now. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's been a cool one as I've gotten better at it. I really feel like I've been able to connect with the people that I speak to and get a message across where they can leave by learning something and hopefully leaving a better person. And I didn't feel that a lot in snowboarding. Snowboarding was a lot for me. It's a really good feeling for me, but I was never like, oh, like, now that fan can go do a double cork, like, that's not really realistic, like but speaking to people and sharing my experience of being at the very top of the world in a sport to the very, very bottom of the world, and it's like, that's where I think my story is unique, is that I was the world champion in the TTR World Snowboard Tour. Like, I made it to the top of snowboarding, and then my brain injury was so bad, and it was so severe that I was left ready to I've had suicidal thoughts, I won't lie. It's like, onto that place, and suicide is a very common thing with brain injuries because it's like, there's no point to live anymore when life is this hard.
Yes.
But people don't like to talk about suicide, so it's kind of a sticky subject where it's like people like say that and people sign off because it's like so people are scared to death, and I'm not scared to death. I have pretty much died and I've been able to come back, and it's like so to me, death is a part of life, but for some reason, like those are things that I do that people don't like talking about death. Like that's an example of something I do where but it's like people don't want to hear about it, but at the same time, I'm like that's part of life. So and I face things head on, especially now after this. It's like there's no time for the BS. There's no time to try and tiptoe around and pretend that you're not gonna die. It's
Exactly,
that.
exactly. We're all going to, and it's something that we have to confront, and it I could see where it would be a part of the healing process too. You're not going to get better if you have these thoughts or if you ignore those thoughts. So you bring up a really good point
And
there.
one of the biggest things I will say that I share in my talks are the ants, and the ants are the automatic negative thoughts. And Dr. Daniel Amen taught me about the negative thoughts and how damaging they are. So it's like, it's pretty simple. It's like every time you have a thought, your brain releases these chemicals, right? Like you have a good thought, you feel good. Oh, I'm having a great day. I'm doing so well, like, I'm talking so great, like, people, like, wanna hear me, I'm gonna keep or, like, I'm an idiot, I suck, I'm stupid, I'm bad. You don't do better when you put yourself down, but these you don't also people don't usually recognize the negative thoughts, they just say them. They just come out because it's so easy to be negative.
Mhm.
It's so easy to say, "I suck." It's so easy to go to that place of negativity, whereas being positive for some reason for us humans is more difficult. So that's been a the negative thoughts have been big for me in getting rid of those and just like I'm a super positive person and just so grateful that I could make a recovery like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, where can the audience find you? I'm sure there's some people out there that would really like to hear you talk.
Yeah, the talks have kinda been pretty sporadic, and I did it really intense for probably 6 or 7 years, and then COVID hit, and my kinda like my snowboarding, when COVID hit, my speaking just stopped because all the conferences, people weren't getting together, and I did a couple online, but that never really took off, and ever since COVID, it hasn't really picked back up like it's done, which has been a total blessing for me having 3 kids and love being home and actually it's funny because now my replacement to snowboarding and public speaking is probably gonna have to be pickleball.
Really?
So tennis is too hard for me because I had really bad injuries to my eye after the brain injury because of how your brain connects to your eyes, and double vision was, like, really intense, and pick tennis is too fast. The running, the moving, the double vision, everything going on, and then ping pong's, like, a little too easy, like, I'd whoop up on you at ping pong, I'm really good. Until I go to New York, and then those guys make me look bad. Pickleball's, like, in between tennis and ping pong, and that's, like, the closest place I've been to finding the flow state that I was talking about, or the zone, is, like, when I play pickleball, I can get that same feeling that I got on a snowboard where it's like it's so weird because pickleball is so dumb and it's like such like a fake little sport, but for some reason you get into those rallies and you can just like you can hit anything back. Like it doesn't matter the shot someone hits, you're gonna get it back. And that's what it was like in snowboarding. It's like it didn't matter what the guy did before me or what the score was or what the highest score was. I knew that I was gonna drop in and I was gonna be able to do the best trick.
That's really interesting. I haven't played pickleball, but I see it just, like, exploding
Yeah, and
everywhere.
then all the people that haven't played it, they're like, "Oh, it's such a big thing," but it's like there's a reason it's exploding and it's such a big thing is because it's so fun, and, like, I also don't wanna get stuck on pickleball, but quick story is, like, I'll be playing down here, and I'll go out and I'll play, like, like, straight up, I'll play, like, 2, like, older women, like, maybe, like, 70, 75, and they will whoop me. Like, I have gotten smoked by these old women, and then I start to question my life decisions and what I'm doing playing 70-year-olds in pickleball and getting beaten.
And I know, like, I could just picture because I used to work at a gym, I could, like, picture how serious they are.
Oh my gosh, it's so intense. So then I built one up for pickleball at my house, so I don't have to go and play with those people, and I can have my friends come to my
There you go. That takes care of that. So are you on, any socials, or do you have, like, a website or anything?
Yeah, I do, and it's funny you asked that because my Facebook just got hacked,
Oh, no.
and someone took control of my Kevin Pearce official Facebook page that had, like, 60,000 followers, and now I've been in touch with Facebook, and I haven't had any luck.
Oh, they're
So,
impossible.
the hacker still has my page at the time being, but, I do Instagram a bunch. I'm at Kevin Pearce on Instagram, and that's kind of the one for us old folks now, and maybe even the younger kids. Everyone's on Instagram, but I do, alright, I'll share my next favorite thing, which also might lose me some followers and subscribers, but it's Tesla. So I have a Model X, one with the Falcon doors, like a
Oh,
super rad Tesla, and the full self-driving works perfectly. And now with the brain injury, my friends who might watch this will attest to, I'm not as good at driving as I once was, and now it doesn't matter because my car literally takes me everywhere. And I get that there's a lot of craziness with Elon Musk, and you're gonna have that. He's one of the smartest people in the world, and if you're gonna be that smart, you gotta have some quirks to you. It's like
right.
so I accept that, and, to me, Elon Musk has special needs, and I can say that having a brother with Down syndrome and knowing how he is, and yet so that's why it's like special needs isn't always bad. He's the richest, smartest person in the world, so, like, fight me on that, like, he's not gonna be normal. You can't be normal, but we also don't need to go down the Tesla rabbit hole. I love my Tesla.
You know what? If gas prices keep going up, I'm gonna have to get a Tesla. They're getting a little wild on me here, but you bring up a really good point because my son is autistic, and I'm like, you know what? Look at Elon Musk. You know, he I think he has Asperger's or whatever, but I'm like, look at him. He has pushed through. He's invented, or not invented, but at least invested and created these companies. Look at him. He's on top of the world. So, I think he's a good symbol for embracing special needs,
I
honestly.
know there's so much against him and so much that he does wrong, but, like, as you can tell so well, having a family member with special needs, it's like these and having a brother, it's like they don't necessarily know, kinda like me with the brain injury, you don't know what you're doing, like, you do things and then you're like, "Maybe I shouldn't have said that," or, "Maybe that wasn't the right thing to talk about," and so,
Right.
I have a lot of empathy for my son with autism and my legend, my idol, Elon Musk, and these everyone in between, so it's like, I don't know, it's going back to judgment, you gotta be careful on who you judge and
You really do. Yes. And we are bad about that. All like humans are just bad about that.
because it's so easy, it's like the negative thoughts, it's so easy to judge someone and say they're stupid or they're doing that wrong or they're out of line, it's like take a step back, slow it down. I need to
Exactly.
do that too. We all need to do that.
Yes. We all just need to chill.
Everyone just
Everyone chill. I love that. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much for having me.